Hello, and welcome to our video snapshot of HT2117WK3PCS. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the format or code structure of PCS. There are a max of 7 characters, so you have to have 7 characters. I would suggest that you use this little diagram to help you with your coding. I know it helps me. So the very first character is going to be 1, the section. Example of the section would be 0, the med-surg section. 2, second character is a body system. What body system? Respiratory system, circulatory system, reproductive system. Third character is a root operation. The root operation is the objective of the procedure, and this is key to getting to the right code or table. Fourth character is a body part. What body part is the procedure being performed on? Arm, leg, heart, etc. Fifth character is the approach. What approach did the surgeon use to get to the operative site? There are 7 approaches. An example might be an open approach, where the surgeon cut through the skin or mucous membranes to get to the operative site. Sixth character is a device. Was there any device left in the patient? An example might be silicone breast implants. Another example would be a pacemaker, or if a patient had a hip replacement. And then the 7th and final character is a qualifier. The qualifier would be a unique value for an individual procedure. So example, the qualifier can be used to identify the destination site of a bypass. These are your root operations, and I've grouped them, you see here in color, by what they have in common. So what I would suggest that you do is do the same thing. Get yourself some flashcards, group them this way by what they have in common, and memorize these. Get to know what these are. If you don't know the root operations, you're not going to be very successful with learning how to code with PCS. These are our basic guidelines for PCS coding or building your coding steps. Of course, you have to review physician documentation, go to the alphabetical index, look up the name of the procedure. If you don't know the root operation, look up the name of the procedure. It's going to usually reference the first 3 characters, sometimes 4. You might get lucky and it might list 7. Regardless, you still have to go to the PCS table to be sure you're in the right place. So go into the table and building the rest of the code is your last step. Now, we're going to deal with excision and resection in this video. So what I've done, I've selected these group of root operations and what they have in common. They all take out some or all of a body part. Let's start with excision. This would be cutting out part of a body part without replacement. An example might be a partial nephrectomy where part of the kidney is removed. Resection is the opposite, where the surgeon is removing all of a body part. Example would be a total nephrectomy. A detachment. This is cutting off all or part of upper or lower extremities. This would apply to all amputations. Destruction. This would be the physical destroying or eradication of all or part of a body part by some use of force or destructive agent. An example might be a cautery of a skin lesion. Cautery, of course, means burning, so the lesion is destroyed by burning. Our last example here is extraction. This would be pulling or stripping out all or part of a body part by some use of force. An example might be a bone marrow biopsy. So let's look at this example. We've got a partial left lobectomy, thyroid gland open. You see here I've underlined the name of the procedure, lobectomy. So we're going to go to lobectomy in the PCS code book in the alphabetical index, and what you'll see, it'll give you the options. It says, is this an excision of the central nervous system and cranial nerves? And it gives you the codes, the first 3 characters. Or is this an excision of the endocrine system? It gives you the 3 codes. Or is it an excision of the hepatobiliary system and pancreas? Or is it an excision of the respiratory system? Or is it a resection? So what you have to know, what is being done here. So in this case, he says it's a partial. So partial goes back to our definition of excision, removing part of a body part. So in this case, it's an excision, part of a body part. So now you have to ask yourself, okay, so is this the central nervous system where the thyroid gland is located? Is it the endocrine system? Or is the thyroid gland part of the pancreas and hepatobiliary system? Or is it part of the respiratory system? So here's where your anatomy has to kick in. So the thyroid gland is part of the endocrine system. So we want to go to the table 0GB. And here's our table. We see 0 is the med-surg section. It's the endocrine system. It's G. Our third character here is ear, is the root operation excision, where the surgeon is cutting out part of the thyroid gland. Then our fourth character is a body part. We scroll down here, and he said it was the left thyroid gland. So our fourth character is G. Then we come over to our fifth character, the approach. What approach did the surgeon use to get to the thyroid gland? And he said it was an open approach where he made a cut to get to the thyroid gland. Then we come to our sixth character, device. There was no device left in the patient, so our sixth character is Z. And our final character is a qualifier. Is it diagnostic or is it Z? It's not diagnostic. It's going to be Z, no qualifier. So our correct code is 0GBG0ZZ. Let's look at this example. This time it's a total open lobectomy of the thyroid gland. We'll follow the exact same process. We go to lobectomy in our alphabetical index. Again, we have to ask ourselves, is this an excision or is it a resection? Because he says total, we know it's a resection. The entire body part has been removed. We already know the thyroid gland is part of the endocrine system. So we know it's table 0GT. And he says here it's open, so we already know the approach. So already we know the root operation is a resection. We know the approach is open. We already saw total, gave us a clue as to resection. And we know the body part here is thyroid gland. So now we're going to go to the table 0GT. 0 is our med-surg section. G is our body system, endocrine system. It's a resection. Our fourth character is a body part. Notice here you see left and right thyroid gland. It would be incorrect to list these codes twice because you've got thyroid gland. Thyroid gland indicates here the entire gland. So it would be K as our body part. We come over to the approach. He said he made a cut, so it's open. There was no device left in the patient, Z, and the qualifier here is Z. So our correct code here is 0GT K0ZZ. I hope you have found this coding shot on PCS format helpful.